Yes, sir, back at you with the monkey. Monsterverse. Yeah, baby. The Playmates Kong Skull Island, baby. All right. So this is a re-release. And, we're going to compare it with the original release side by side. See what the differences actually are. But this is the Teenage Kong from Skull Island, from Kong Skull Island. It's basically the 2017 Kong from Playmates. And it's a reissue, re-release. It's slightly different, I'll tell you that straight up, simply because of the feet. So we got brown feet here, where the original almost I guess it had muddy feet. The bottom of the feet were kind of had like a grayish or white shade to them. These don't, which is ultimately why I bought the figure. You know what I mean? Because that was a little weird, I have to say. Shinrob Jira said, "Why does Kong have coom on his feet?" On his feet. Anyway, but and you're getting some nice accessories here. Of course, you get the airplane propeller, which is very well done. We'll see if it's as well done or better than the first one. It looks about the same though. But very, very, very cool accessory. And then, of course, you get the helicopter. Like the helicopters that were in Kong Skull Island, the movie. And you get a nice picture of Kong here jumping. That looks like the scene when he punched the helicopter. Same Kong on one side. Kong Skull Island on the other. And then, of course, on the back, you got a nice picture of the figure. It says, Kong Skull Island, Kong, wherever skull crawlers rise, the young but mighty Kong is there to defend his kingdom, combining bone-crushing blows, and a devastating propeller chain whip. Kong reigns supreme as Skull Island's apex guardian, fully posable and articulated. And then here on the bottom, of course, it has the latest line of the Monsterverse Playmates, which, are going to include Real Feel Godzilla and Kong, which I don't think there's any difference in those. I don't think I'll be getting those. I have them already. The Frost Vark, which I already have. That'll be my next review. Blue Morpher, which I already reviewed. Check that out. And Burning Godzilla, which to me is really nice. And I'm still checking for that. I'm still looking for that in Targets. We'll see if I can eventually find it. But yeah, Skull Island Kong. So let's clip him out of the box here and take a look at what we got. All right, so here's what we're looking at. Here you see the airplane propeller, which is roughly the same thing as the first one. Same as with the helicopter. Pretty cool that it comes with these. And I like the scaling of them as well. So that's nice. And then Kong just looks great. I have to say, it really captures the Teenage Kong. I like the color of it. It's more on the gray side, like a matte gray, or light brown. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely has a gray tinge to it, but something about it captures the way Kong looked in that movie as far as the color of it. And then you have the 3 scars right here, which he started off with. This is, before he collected a bunch of scars on his chest from Godzilla. And it's an excellent facial sculpt. Really, really good. Great eyes, which you can see here. They're like orange with black dots, but they look very good. It's a mean-looking Kong, as you can see here. The teeth are very well done. The inside of the mouth is nice. You got the nice tongue right there with the crease in the middle of it. Beautiful. You can see the gums. And the teeth look great. Face, eyes, great. You know what I mean? So it's good color, good facial sculpt. Less pronounced on the fur as the, comparing to the older Kongs. But that's, to be expected. You know, he had more hair and more fur as he got older. But that just looks fantastic. And yeah, so really, really nice, good detail on this guy. And, you know, fairly about as screen accurate as a Playmates figure is going to get. This is a nice figure. It's a cool figure. It looks good, and it comes with good accessories, bottom line. So let's pose him. Okay, so now we get really pretty decent articulation here, enough to get it into a beautiful crawling on all fours pose with Kong's fist in the air. You get nice arm articulation here, so you could achieve a pose like that with the arm going straight away down and a fist cocked. Unfortunately, the head doesn't move up and down, but it does move side to side, and you know, I think it's a quite nice walking on all fours pose in an angry fashion. You know what I mean? That looks good. So yeah, it's decent articulation for a Playmates figure. It looks really good. Okay, you're gonna get a fantastic running pose here. You know, this Kong has very long arms, which adds to like a dynamic looking running pose. And you can see it's got good balance as far as how the legs. Okay, you're going to get a really sick running pose right here. The arms are long on this Kong to create a really dynamic running pose, and the legs function very well to give it balance. There's some nice bend at the knee there. And you could create a really realistic in-action running pose, almost like running and attacking pose, because Kong looks so rough and tough right here. And that just looks really nice. Okay, now I just want to show you about how wide you can get Kong's arms and legs. So you really get some nice stretch on the arms here, and the legs go out about that wide. But yeah, that's a nice wide stance. Now, you could kind of do a bit of a beating on the chest pose. You know, the arms are long, so you're not going to get the bend. You get good bend at the elbow, but you're not going to get enough to create a 100% beating on the chest pose. But you can get fairly close with it. And that's about what you're working with for that. This is about as close together as you could bring the arms. And the arms look and function quite differently. You know, the open hand arm has more bend at the elbow than the fist arm. And you also have like this pin that's visible on the fist arm. On this arm here, we have some battle damage. So, I mean, it's cool that we have battle damage on the figure. I do not remember if there was battle damage on the original figure. We'll check when we compare. But you could see here, both of these arms look and function quite differently. One of them's open, one of them is a closed fist. One of them bends at the elbow better, one of them does not. One of them has battle damage, one of them has a visible pin. So, I don't know, you know. I don't think it necessarily takes away from the figure. It just adds, you know, they want it to be like that, obviously, for certain poses. But very, very cool. I'm not sure why they're showing the pin right there, but that could have been maybe covered. But I really think this is a quality figure, though. You know what I mean? It just looks very good. And it still functions fairly well articulation-wise as far as the arms and the legs, you know. But the arms are just both different, so just note that. And here we got a really nice throwing a fist action pose by Kong here. And you could just see, you know, when you pose this thing, it looks awesome. Of course, you could see I really like the way the fur kind of shimmers and glimmers. The fur actually does look nice, even though it's not as hairy as the older Kongs. Yeah, the detail on this is really nice. If you can excuse the pins, this is a looker. It's a really, really nice Kong, man. You know what I mean? Like, you go get it. For $10, you will be satisfied with this, I promise you. Look at that, man. All right, so now to just basically do the pose from the back of the box here. You can see, you know, the propeller's a little loose in his hand. There's certain ways he can hold it that you can make it work, you know what I mean? But it doesn't grip down on it tightly. But it still fits in his hand, and you could work it, you know what I mean? But try to make it look like that pick right there. That's very nice. I think this right here also is a very nice way to pose him with the propeller here. You could wrap it basically around his wrist and have him hold it like that. That's nice. You know what I mean? Like have him dragging it low so he could pick it up. Like he's basically going to pick it up and swing it. And that looks nice. You know what I mean? You just have to work the propeller because it is a little thin. Like the hole in the hand is a little on the bigger side for it, you know. But that looks good nonetheless. Okay, that's awesome, man. Look at that. You can actually wrap it like that and have him look like he's swinging it above his head. Fist cocked. Awesome, man. That is a beautiful way to pose this figure on your shelf. Just like that. That looks fantastic. What a nice figure by Playmates. $10, guys. You know what I'm saying? This ain't worth $10. This is a highly detailed, well-articulated figure of Kong with accessories for $10. And it looks great. Kudos to Playmates and the Monsterverse line. You know what I mean? And Skull Island Kong, which is just really beautiful. You know, I got no complaints. I like the paint job. I like the fur. Articulation is fairly on point. It's got its flaws. It's a little stiff. You know what I mean? Like, we wish we had that beating on the chest pose. But look at this dynamic pose. That's going to be the thumbnail for this video. Awesome. Really, really cool. Okay, and then you're going to get this really nice helicopter, which looks great. It fits in Kong's hand. It actually fits better in his hand than the propeller does. But, you know, he grabbed the helicopter out of the air like that in Skull Island, a few of them, you know. So, how cool is that? That looks great, man. And it's a pretty cool helicopter, you know. It looks like an army green helicopter. But that's how they looked at Skull Island, you know what I mean? So, you could do it. You could pose it like that with Kong grabbing the copter out of the sky, man. Awesome. Okay, so indeed there are a couple of differences here, okay? This is the original release. So first, let's start off with the airplane propeller. This one, the new one, is longer than the original. So you can see that there. The way it's bent, shaped is different. And then, as far as the figures, this is a little bit lighter gray on the paint job. This guy's a little darker, okay? And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the feet. This looks like his feet were in mud, which is just, it's quite strange, you know what I mean? And this matches the rest of his fur, which I kind of like better. I don't know. It's unique, but I don't know really the purpose of it. I guess it's just running around in the mud for that last final scene where he's battling the skull crawler. It's basically the same facial sculpt, but this one might pop a little more because it's darker color around the face. You could see that. This is a little lighter, but still, I believe it's an excellent face sculpt. Now, I don't remember if this battle damage came off. I'll have to check the first video where I actually reviewed it. Oops. But the thing is it certainly doesn't, it seems like it's glued down on this one, and I'm not even going to mess with it, you know. But, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to have both of them, quite honestly, because there are differences, like I said. So, and they both look great, you know. So, yeah, that's the differences between these two. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up, folks, for Playmates Kong Skull Island. I recommend the figure, definitely. It's very cool. I always have fun with Kong. I like collecting Kongs. And if you want this guy, go out and get you some. Like the goddamn video, subscribe to my channel. And I still got plenty more figures here that I'm holding ready to review. So, next up is the Frostvark. So, be on the lookout for that. I'll be dropping that within the next couple of days. So, but yeah, man, go get you some Kong. Peace.